Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 248 of the Co-op Podcast. I'm your host, Richard Billy Jr., and today I'm joined by Mr. Gary A. Swaby. How's it going, Gary?
It's going good, man. And I gotta respect the shirt you're wearing. That's the King T'Challa shirt right there, the Wakanda shirt. So I'm liking that. But
Yeah,
happy Sunday, everyone.
absolutely. We're also joined by Miss Dana Abercrombie. How's it going, Dana?
Hello.
And we are joined by Mr. Jake James Lugo. How's it going, Mr. Lugo?
I'm doing good, Rich. What's happening? Hope you guys had a good week overall.
Absolutely. Very busy week, but I guess we could definitely say good nonetheless. So we do have a couple of news topics to get into this week because there was a few things that happened. Not really too much, but before we do that, I'm going to basically let everybody know what we have been playing. So JJ, how about you go first and let us know what you've been playing?
So yeah, I've been playing a couple different things. We got some new reviews up on the website right now that I've mentioned, and a couple other shows that I've been on, throughout the week. We have some new reviews for Rogue Aces. We have the Adventure Pals, Floor Kids, a whole bunch of different stuff, all on Nintendo Switch, all indie games that you guys should definitely check out when you get a chance. I had some good stuff and some interesting stuff to talk about with all three of them. In addition to that, as of last night, I finally got a copy of God of War, and I'm finally playing it. And eventually I'll have some thoughts on it very, very soon. I know a lot of people have been gassing it up for one reason or another, saying that it's one of the best of the year, but I'm finding out firsthand exactly what's up with it. So that's really the bulk of what I've been playing. I've been diving into a few other games here and there. We've got some upcoming reviews coming up in the next couple weeks that I'll be able to talk about now that embargoes are starting to lift up and stuff. But be on the lookout for all that stuff very soon. So that's what I've been up to.
Sounds good. Yes. So, Dana, how about you let us know what you've been playing or what you've been up to, because you've had a very busy week.
In regards to games, the God of War, I was able to get a panel with the actors and the developer of the God of War 4. And also, I was able to preview or give a little demo demonstration of Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which I was able to interview the cast and talk to the producers and ran into a couple other people. But you know how God of War was like one of the best of the year? Just take that and flip it. So yay, September.
Hey, that sounds good to me. I'm pretty sure we're going to talk more about Tomb Raider a little bit later, but that's not that. We'll see how that turns out.
It'll turn out as great as that game will be.
Okay. So, Gary, how about you let us know what you've been playing?
Yeah, so of course I've been playing Overwatch, and it only just dawned on me. Next month will be exactly 2 years that I've been playing Overwatch, and since the game first came out, because it came out May the 30th, 2016. So it's already coming up 2 years, man, since I reviewed that game. And I'm still playing it. So yeah, it's very near and dear to my heart. But besides that, I've also been playing God of War, of course. Just been getting through that game. And I don't really have like any major critiques of the game, but I will say there are some parts that get me like frustrated just because they're so difficult. Like there's these chests that you have to open by throwing your axe at the bells. You have to there's like different bells scattered around the area, and you have to hit them with your axe to open certain chests. And that can be very frustrating because like they make it hard. Like sometimes you need your axe to be on a switch so that the platform can be lowered. So as soon as you call your axe, the platform starts to raise, but one of the bells is actually in the platform. So it's like it's very hard to like call your hammer, throw it while the platform is actually raising and stuff like that. So there's a few instances like that that are getting me a bit frustrated because I am a collector. I like to get everything in the game. But yeah, they make it hard. They make it tough. It tests your patience and your endurance. But it's a really great game, though. Still enjoying it. The graphics are amazing. presentation is amazing. Storytelling is really great. I love the bond between Kratos and his son and everything. And besides that, I can't say too much because I don't want to spoil anything or give anything away. But yeah, still enjoying God of War. And that's pretty much all I've been playing for this week.
Sounds good. Yeah, sounds very good. So as for me, last week I wasn't on the show because I attended an H1Z1 event that took place in Las Vegas. So I got a chance to see H1Z1 on PlayStation 4. And I actually have a preview article on the website right now. That game, like I said in my article, if you like battle royale games, and because PUBG is not on PlayStation 4 yet, this is a game that you definitely may want to keep an eye on. I mean, it's going to be coming out in open beta on May 22nd. It is entirely free, although you can pre-order it now, and then you'll just get bonus stuff, bonus collectibles, so on and so forth that you can use when the game launches on May 22nd. But yeah, from what I saw of the game, it's pretty fun. It has pretty much a lot of the same things that are in the PC version of H1Z1, but it's catered more to console players. It has more different things, like there's a weapon wheel that will allow you to easily access the weapons immediately. And they just made it a little bit simpler in terms of a lot of different things that you can do, specifically for console owners. It will be out on Xbox One at some point in time, but I have no information about that as of right now because they're focused primarily on PlayStation 4. And this version was built entirely for PlayStation 4. So definitely stay tuned for more coverage on that. As I get more hands-on time with it, I'll be able to talk more about what you can expect from the game. And the other game that I have been playing is, of course, God of War as well. So we will definitely have a podcast discussion about God of War in the future. But what I played so far, the game is fantastic. I don't have really too many complaints. If there is one complaint that I do have, it's going to be along the lines of, I wouldn't necessarily say it's the best game of the year because there's still other games to come out this year. And I think a lot of people tend to forget that Red Dead Redemption 2, this is still one of the most highly anticipated games of 2018. So I'm not about to say it's the best game so far well, I can say it's the best game so far this year. I'm not going to say it's the game of the year yet because I have to see what else comes out this year.
It is.
Oh, it is.
Oh, it is. I'm sorry.
Well, again, I don't have any problem if anyone has that opinion, but I'm
Maybe
going to be.
Red Dead hasn't come out, so.
I'm gonna make this claim right now, and you guys can quote me at the end of the year. But Spider-Man is game of the year.
No. Yeah. Shoot.
With the way people talking right now, I wouldn't be surprised if it came down to that, Red Dead and Spider-Man. Honestly.
Here's the thing. What I can legally say, I won't be surprised if it's the top two.
Oh yeah.
Makes the top.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see that.
That's what I can say. But yeah. But God of War, man, the thing about it is that it just wasn't just a game. It took you on this huge emotional journey. And even when I was speaking to the people who were involved, I got to speak to Corey Barlog, Chris Judd, who's my God, that's his real voice. Like, he wakes up in the morning and that is his voice. Jeremy Davies and Danielle, Bisutti? I probably butchered that. But anyway, they was showing and they was able to act out what they was doing, like in front of us, and the raw emotion that they had and how they just kept pushing each other as actors really helped contribute to make that game just amazing. Or even you could just watch just the cut scenes alone, and this is like, wow, this is a really darn good movie. Like, it really takes you in. So that, and for me, on top of the gameplay, was just, it's in that status where it's game of the year for me.
Oh yeah, well, I definitely think it's in the conversation, no doubt about that. We also have to remember this game has been in development for 5 years, so I think it should be of a high quality in all areas from that aspect alone has been in development so long. So, like I said, what I played of the game so far is is fantastic. You know, I mean, there's a lot of things to do in that game, and it's going to take me a while to really get through it because I don't have as much time to play too many games now as I did, you know, when I was a little bit younger and I had more time on my hands. You know, I'm getting older now, but I am going to finish it and definitely, absolutely going to have a lot more to say about it in the future. But it's a fantastic game. I think it's worthy of the praise that it has received thus far. So I'm looking forward to finishing it, and I will definitely talk more about it at that point. And then we will revisit these conversations again later this year in regards to other stuff that comes out. What I can say right now is, you know, and I hate to keep it real. We will revisit this again later, but I am pretty sure Shadow of the Tomb Raider will not be in that discussion, but that's just my opinion.
Statement of the year right there, ladies and gentlemen. Jesus. Jesus.
We'll see.
So people really down on this? Like, wow! Like, this is the first time I've actually hearing people sound like they're down on Shadow of the Tomb Raider. But either way,
well, I mean, like I said, we'll discuss it later. I haven't everything I've heard from some, you know, I know we had Tatiana that was at the preview event, so we'll discuss that a little bit later. But yeah, that's all that I've been playing. I definitely will have a lot more to say in the future. I will be playing 2 upcoming games that are coming out in May. So I'll have more to say about that next week because I just received one of those games recently, but I can't really talk about it until next week. So we'll talk about that later. But that pretty much concludes what we have been playing for this week. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into the topics. So this first topic, Gary, I want you to introduce this because this is a story that I did not know anything about until I literally signed on my computer here to record the show. So feel free to tell us what is going on with Devolver Digital right now.
Okay, yeah. So in an interview with GamesIndustry.biz, the co-founder Mike Wilson of Devolver Digital made some pretty bold statements about you know, like the gaming community and stuff. And he went on record and said the gaming community is great at being complete effing assholes online. And you know, he actually said the F word and everything. I don't want to repeat it because, you know, YouTube is crazy right now. But yeah, he made that statement. And the reason he made that statement was because basically he feels like the gaming community has two, you know, they can easily access, you know, the art guys and everyone who's working on these different games, developers, artwork guys, writers, and everything. They have too much access to them, and you know, they can wish bad things upon them, and they can air out their grievances and how they feel about the games and the work they're doing, and things of that nature. And I guess he just feels like the gaming community is very toxic, and he doesn't like it, and he finds it discouraging, and he kind of wants there to be more of a barrier between the customer and the people who work on the games and everything like that. But the reason we want to discuss this is because should he have actually said that, especially in those specific words, because that is it's a very harsh statement to make about the people who are going to inevitably be buying your games and everything like that. So I wanted to get some thoughts and opinions on what you guys think of that. Go ahead, Dana.
Well, one, if you don't make crappy games, you won't have negativity with the people whining and complaining. Secondly, if you don't want to hear other people's opinion, stay off social media. No one's forcing him to. So you can create your own barrier. People are going to have an opinion no matter what. And if he feels that it's too toxic, then he should distance himself. But people are going to have an opinion, especially if they're paying to play that game. So, boo-hoo. I don't get it.
Yeah. You're definitely right about that. He did go on to say that because I think he's thinking of it along the terms of being indie developers and stuff. And some of his rationale was that people talk about their games as if it's, you know, a large team creating it, but they don't know that it's only a few people and they're overworked and, you know, things like that. And they're people kind of judge them too critically, and they don't appreciate the level of work that you know, the small teams and indie developers have to actually put in to accomplish what they do. So that's like another aspect of him explaining what he meant by that. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, how about JJ? You wanted to say something on this?
Yeah, you know, here's the thing. I understand and I empathize with where he's coming from. He's coming from a place where he's putting a lot of work, and him and his team and everybody that he associates with and works with on a lot of these different games at Devolver Digital or elsewhere. They're coming from a place where they put a lot of their time and you know, a lot of their lives into the stuff that they make here, which is great, and we all appreciate that. And I think a lot of the people out there, even some of the people that he talks about or refers to, appreciate that. The problem is that, one, I feel like he went about this the wrong way in expressing it, and went about this in the kind of the wrong idea of what he's trying to convey, because I don't think it's coming out the same way as what he means it. The thing is that, you know, online or offline, there are assholes out there. There are people out there that are just horrible individuals and horrible people. And, you know, it is what it is, and there's bigots, and you have to kind of put it in its proper place. No matter what you're going to do, you know, you're always going to have those types of individuals out there. The problem is, though, and what we need to stop doing in the game industry, and when I say we, I mean everybody in the games industry, even if you're not necessarily doing something like this, I think we got to heavily discourage it, is that we have to stop painting all these types of things with a very broad stroke. We have to stop blaming the consumer / the people / the gaming community, quote unquote, for the actions of a select few that happen to be a lot more vocal and a lot more louder than the masses. Because a lot of the stuff that these types of developers and this developer also refers to is usually the people that are constantly online, you know, saying like all this vitriol and all this different stuff, whether it's about opinions on games, whether it's about the quality of games, or just them just trying to be loud just to be heard. We have to stop blaming everybody, because there's a majority of people, us included, that don't engage in that same way. I don't think, and I don't believe that the gaming community, quote unquote, is toxic like what so many people say. I think that they just refer to that select grouping of people that act that way. Yet they want to generalize it for everybody. And that's a very dangerous place to be thinking like. That's the same way that Phil Fish ended up thinking like with Fez after he decided to kind of quit and kind of cancel Fez 2 and stuff. And we've seen other developers and other people that put themselves out there and kind of act like that and kind of get that mentality, because they can't take not only just the pressure of dealing with all the game development stuff, which is in of itself a really tough thing for anybody to deal with, whether it's one or many people, but also having a bunch of people just throw nasty stuff at you constantly all the time, every single day of the week. You know, that could get very tiring. I can understand that. But regardless of how you are in an emotional state or a mental state, and, you know, whether you're okay or not, I don't think it's right and it's fair to everybody else to kind of put everybody in that same boat for like that. I don't think it's a good idea to come out and say that we need more kind of barriers or restrictions between fans and the people that create games. I don't think that we should have barriers like that at all. And right now with social media, with Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, and all these other platforms, those barriers are gone. I mean, don't get me wrong, you still got things out there to like block people that, you know, you don't want to kind of engage with, or you feel like people are being too bad or too nasty and stuff. There's always steps you could take to kind of prevent that and not have to deal with that as much. But to come out and say, you know, that the greater gaming community is nasty and it's toxic, I think that he's just talking from an emotional state. And I think that he's not thinking completely rational like that. And it kind of just feeds into the same thing we've been hearing over the last couple of years of one of the reasons why people kind of are at odds with a lot of industry people or industry personnel at the current moment. I mean, it's just this animosity that's lingered because some people just keep adding fuel to this fire here. Like, in all honesty, you know, I feel like it part of the job of developing games, even though I'm not a game developer myself, I haven't created games, but I understand a little bit of what goes on there because I've talked to people, both indie and AAA, on the PR side and the actual development side, the people who are making these things with their two hands, that, you know, when you're out there, you're trying to put a product out into the world and you want to get eyes on it. Part of the job is putting yourself out there. part of the job is putting yourself out there to interact with people, to talk about your games. And not everybody's going to like your stuff, and not everybody's going to get behind what you do. But you can't be upset and blame everybody else when you kind of run into that and you just don't like the outcome of it. So that's just my 2 cents on the matter. I feel like I understand where he's coming from. I empathize, I sympathize with it, but it was the wrong way for him to kind of, say it in the way that he expressed it. I just don't think it's going to come off right, and it's going to be a lot more worse than what he was actually intending.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. And like, I feel like the problem is here that people, like, you can go on Twitter, right, and find any group or any fandom of people and look at them as like the worst people on the planet just because they're so vocal, they're so obnoxious in their thoughts and everything. But you have to kind of remember also that Twitter doesn't represent everybody, like every gamer or, every movie fan or, every critic. It's just that one site, and the reason Twitter looks so bad is because you're given the power to tag anybody or any company you like to your thought or your statement, whether good or bad. On other social media outlets, it's not exactly like that. Like on Instagram, you're only going to follow stuff you like, and you can't just like, you can tag people, but like it's not like on Twitter where you're going to get blown up from your notifications and everything like that. You can just kind of ignore it on Instagram. Because it's more focused around, looking at imagery and stuff like that. And on Facebook, you're only going to like stuff that you actually like anyway. And, you can't just tag people like that, like you can on Twitter and stuff. So I think really like people, they generalize too much based on, how people act on Twitter. And obviously you're going to have good people, you're going to have bad people, you're going to have, people who, have no sense of restriction in their thoughts, and they're just going to blur out the most negative things that they can think of, just to get attention or just to make an impact or whatever. But that's not a representation of how everybody is or how everybody thinks, and that's what this guy needs to realize. Like, not everybody is like that. You can't just lump the entire gaming community into one statement like that. So you have to kind of be specific a little bit.
I have one additional thought to really bounce off of that, which I think is a great point we should acknowledge. I think that in this case, and I think in a lot of other cases, especially with a lot of things we've seen in the gaming news as of late over the last few years, I think a real problem that everybody that talks this way needs to get over is getting over the fact of accepting criticism. And the reason being is because you see a lot of companies and individuals like him and others out there that are good with social media and everything else when the conversation is favorable to them, when it's not just a discussion about what's being out there, when it's not a cavalcade of different opinions, both positive and negative, only when it's favorable to them. And I think that people need to get over that, because social media isn't the worst thing in the world just because there's a select group of people that aren't down with you, that aren't rolling with you, because there's that many more people out there that are positive that, without social media, you would have never been able to reach out to them. You wouldn't be able to get eyes on your game or have the conversation about your game being put out there without social media like that. It's just the day and age that we live in. But we have a lot of people in the industry and out of the industry, because we see this all the time when people that talk like that, and it's all doom and gloom and kind of a catastrophe to them, or that a lot of people that keep saying that the gaming community is toxic like that is because they're constantly just focusing on the people that are negative towards them, and rather than just the conversation itself. Because there's both positive and negative out there. But why is it that, all of a sudden that now you want to have barriers and now you want to have restrictions on the access that people and consumers have, people that might be your fans, of your company and stuff, have towards you to interact with you? I mean, just because of this one group over here. I just think it's bad. So that's all I'm saying. Just get over the fact that there's criticism out there. You can't be afraid of the criticism. I was just talking about this not too long ago when I spoke at Miami-Dade College. I was telling indie game devs that are just starting out, student developers, you can't be afraid of criticism. That's what's put out there. That works in life, and it works in development as well.
Yep. That's very true. You're a creator of something. Like, if you're creating something and putting it out into the world, you have to be open to that criticism, because you're going to get a lot of it. And that's something even we've had to put up with, the past 10 years that we've been doing the Koalition. Like, we have to deal with the fact that, we're going to put reviews and previews and things of that nature out there, and people are always going to have something to say about it. Like, even Richard, I remember he did a Grand Theft Auto review, and there was one particular individual who called him out on it. Things like that have constantly happened with us over the years, and it's just something you have to deal with if you're putting something out into the world. People are going to have something to say about it.
Yep, I completely agree. I was attacked online for a Roseanne interview, not an interview, a review. So anybody who has a voice wants to have that voice and tell you how they feel no matter what. So either get used to it or just don't have social media, and then don't complain when people don't know about your game.
Can't agree more.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with pretty much everything that was said. I really don't have anything else to add because you all said a lot of things that I was going to say. I think for those that do complain, they definitely should be a lot more specific about who they are addressing with that complaint. I don't like the fact when they say the gaming community as a whole, because as Gary just says, it does impact everybody and how they view everybody. One thing I will mention is, whenever I have noticed this, whenever content creators do stupid stuff, I'm not going to mention their names. They're already making a lot of money off of YouTube, so I don't need to mention their names. But when content creators do stupid stuff, I hate that there are some people out there that think, oh, well, this is how all gaming people operate, with this type of behavior and this type of stuff. And that's unfortunate, but there's going to still be people that think that no matter what. But in the end, like I said, don't even let any of this stuff deter you. This individual that made this comment about the gaming community, yeah, he needs to understand, be more specific about who you're complaining about. And if you are going to receive any type of critical feedback from your game, you have to be open and receptive to that. Because again, listen, we got to be honest. There's no game out here that's perfect, Maybe there are some, to some people, there are some games that are perfect, but if you are in this industry making something, whether you're making a film or a product, you have to be someone who is willing to accept that there are some people that will not like what you're doing, and then there are others that will like it. But if you don't have thick skin to accept this, whether it's good or bad, perhaps you shouldn't be in this industry altogether. But just my personal opinion. No. So any additional thoughts that anybody wants to make on this topic before we move on to the next?
I'm good.
I just want to say one thing, because I know I have to dip out like real quickly and stuff, and I don't want to forget it because I think I forgot to mention earlier and stuff. We have a couple other things that you guys definitely want to check out on the Koalition now. We have some new unboxing and impression stuff. We got some new interviews coming, as well as also all the reviews that we posted up recently within the last week or so. We got a lot. I know that Max did his Sea of Thieves review that went up not too long ago. I did all the indie game stuff, and we got even more that's on the way. So I just want to drop that on there before I dip out, because I got to do some important stuff for content coming up this week. So hopefully you guys have a good podcast. I'll talk to y'all later.
Sounds good. We'll talk to you later. All right. So let's move on to our next topic. And this is from Gary's favorite company, Valve. Valve recently bought Firewatch developer Campo Santos. And we do know, coming out of this news, that Valley of the Gods, which is the new game that they're actually working on, is still due for release sometime in 2019. So I guess I wanted to ask a question of, what do you guys think about this acquisition, and just, overall thoughts on Valve? Because I know Valve has been very vocal about saying they want to get back into making more games. So I think that this is the first acquisition of many others that you will see from them in the future. If they are not the ones to actively create the games, they will definitely try to acquire other developers to do so. So you have any thoughts on this topic, Dana?
No mercy. You all already know. Please, someone give me a remastered No Mercy.
Wait,
No.
Valve to buy No Mercy?
Please, give me my game. I need it remastered. No, this is a good thing. Even if they don't do No Mercy, Yeah, more games, and hopefully they're coming back. They're trying to make a comeback, so the games won't suck. So I don't see how this is a negative.
I agree. Yep. How about you, Gary?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting move. First of all, I'm glad that it won't affect Valley of Gods because I remember we all saw this game announcement. I can't even remember which event it was. Was it the Game of the Year show or was it E3? I can't remember when it was first announced. But I do. Okay, E3. Yeah, I do remember we all loved it. I remember Dana loved it as well. And it looks very interesting. I like the setting and everything. And I'm glad that that's still coming. I'm wondering if it's going to impact how it's released. Like, is it going to hit PC first, or is it still coming to every console and stuff like that? Hopefully, we'll get more details, but I would imagine it's still going to go ahead as intended. But what I want to say about Valve is the fact that they're acquiring people now is very interesting, and it makes me think that they're working towards something. Perhaps, we might even see a resurgence of some of their old games. Like there's been a rumored Left 4 Dead coming. And, we still have other games that people have been waiting for, like Half-Life and, things of that nature. So I'm wondering if this is part of a long-term plan for them. And we know that Microsoft, they want to make moves on the PC. I think for many years they've been wanting to, have a PC user base as big as Valve has, and they've been trying to kind of make small steps towards doing that, especially with the Game Pass thing and offering some of their Xbox games on PC. Actually, this week it was also announced that Halo is going to get another iteration on PC as well, but we're not quite sure which Halo game it's going to be. So I think Valve is kind of probably trying to strategize in case Microsoft makes like a major play and tries to eat into their user base. And, because those two companies have been in close competition for the past few years on PC. So I'm wondering if this is part of a bigger move for Valve, and if they're going to be acquiring a lot more studios and stuff like that.
I think so. And just to also reiterate, I really love the Valley. What was it? Valley of the Dolls? Was it?
Valley of the Gods or Valley of God?
God's doll, something. Anywho, yeah. So the fact that they're still coming out with that, to me, it seems like this is something that they've been planning and working on for a while now. So my hope in my head is that, this is something that's long-term. They're not going to screw it up. And it just seems like to be a positive. And it's hope for games like, No Mercy to come back. So I'm happy.
Yeah. I will say that my biggest fear is that Valve will do something completely unnecessary and come out with some kind of subscription service. I'm hoping they don't go down that route because they really don't need to. Like they already make enough sales from just the service they have alone. Like people buy games left and right on Steam. So I hope that they don't try to put like a subscription service to stream games or anything like that, because I feel like it's not needed from them. But yeah, that's all I've got to say.
So I just will make a quick comment, and this statement may be deemed a little controversial, but I think it needs to be said. I heard what you said, Gary, about it feels like Valve is building towards something, and that there is a likelihood that we may be seeing the return of some of their older IPs, such as Left 4 Dead, such as Half-Life. I fully believe this. I fully believe you will see a Portal 3 long before you see a Left 4 Dead 3 or another Half-Life, because it just feels like, this is something I've been waiting for them to conclude this Half-Life story for decades, and it hasn't happened. And hopefully I didn't give away my age when I said that, but you know, it's just something that it has taken the longest time for them to complete that. So I don't have any faith. I know the writer of that particular game left this Valve not too long ago, so I don't really know what's going on with that. But I mean, it's still, I mean, it's good to see them acquiring other studios trying to get back into the gaming space. You know, I'm glad that it did not impact this upcoming game, but I'm very curious to see what their end goal here is with all of this, because I have no idea what the end goal is. And as Dana said, if they were to acquire the No Mercy, I am 100% certain that that will be better than any game that 2K releases and calls WWE in the title. 100% confident in that. So
be better than WWE itself. But also, can I just say that patience. Captain America taught us about patience. You have to be patient. We're still waiting for a Kingdom Hearts 3, and that's been what, 20 years. So just be patient, and we'll get our Left 4 Deads and our Half-Lives hopefully before we die. But, you know, patient. And it'll be good and it'll look amazing.
You're right. And I keep hearing rumors that Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming out this year, so we'll see about that. I think that is coming out this year, but, you know, got to wait for the official release date information, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
That has a better chance of coming out than Gary's Final Fantasy VII Remastered. I know that much. But at least this year, as far as 2018 is concerned.
Don't hurt my heart like that.
We'll see. But yeah, as for Firewatch, this is a game that I know Charles reviewed for us, you know, when it came out I think it was back in 2016. And I know he thought the game was amazing. I still haven't played the game. I have it downloaded because it was free on PSN Plus. I believe it was already on Xbox One as well, Games with Gold. So I need to play it. I don't know if you played it, Gary or Dana, but if you did play it, did you think it was a good game or
brutal?
The what?
The brutal ending. How can we not love that?
It's a brutal ending. Well, I don't know. I haven't played it yet, so I have to see why it's.
I can't tell you anything, but it is a very. It's not very, but it's a brutal ending, and it's slightly controversial, but like actually controversial, not like just thrown around the word controversial. But it's one of those things where it stays with you. So for me, I liked it.
Okay, I gotta check it out. I haven't downloaded.
The ending made me feel kind of like how the end of Infinity War made me feel.
You know what? I think that's a perfect segue. Is it not, Gary?
You're on a roll with these segues because I listened to the WrestleCast yesterday. Like, yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, and and I will, since you mentioned that will actually be up on the site soon, so bear with us. You know, I just was working on that earlier. So, Dana, I'm going to give the mic over to you to get into the entertainment stuff, and we are definitely going to talk about Infinity War. But let's go ahead and let's start the discussion with Infinity War. You can tell us some things. Well, yeah, just go ahead. You start your segment, and we'll jump in.
Okay. Yeah. So it was a very busy month for me. Infinity War. I'm gonna speak about first, and then I'm gonna go into the press junket for Infinity War. For me, the best movie in the MCU. I want to say Black Panther and Infinity War interchangeable right now, but because I'm really emotional, I'm gonna say the best movie of the year. So far, okay? It was one of those movies where it was finally a story. And what I mean by a story is we got Thanos' story, his point of view, and we just got to see him and why he was after, not so much why he was after the Avengers or why he was, you know, being big and brutal. We just got his story and his psyche about why he felt that his goal of trying to eliminate half of the world's or the universe's population meant so much to him. And that it wasn't like, oh, I'm a big god, I'm going to go and destroy people, look at my ego. it was something that was deeply embedded in him, and it was a personal burden that he had to carry, and it broke him. You saw moments where he just was like just really painful for him, but he knew he had to accomplish it because for how he felt it was for the betterment of the universe. And he made a lot of personal sacrifices for it. So for me, I thought that he walked that fine line between being a villain and a hero and just an everyday average man. I would say that it was similar to Killmonger in Black Panther, where what he believed in so strongly, he viewed himself as being like the hero, even though how others viewed him as being the villain. But when you listen to both sides and they give you everyone's perspective, he can be either one, you know. So it was one of the most well-rounded movies, well-rounded villains. Did we get questions answered? No, we got more questions asked. A lot of people were missing. People are going to show up in part 2. Obviously, we have Ant-Man and Wasp coming out in May, I'm going to say. And that, I believe, is going to take place either during or slightly before Infinity War. And then I think that at the end credit will be everything that's what's happening, you know, currently now with Infinity War. I do believe that the Soul Stone is something you have to pay attention to. If you don't know, you're like half of everybody was, you know, he snapped his fingers and they was all disappeared. And I think that it might be a battle between those who are in the Soul Stone of getting out, those who didn't die yet of getting the people out of the Soul Stone and to reverse Thanos' snap. And at the end, we saw Captain Marvel is going to be involved. We know that there's Ant-Man. We know that there's Wasp. The original Wasp, I believe, is in the actual the Soul Stone as well. So it's going to be just really interesting. And I thought it was absolutely beautiful. I was a hot mess coming out of the theater, and Tony from the Throwdown was with me, and you know, I almost broke his arm off because I was just crying so hard and like just screaming, especially during the Wakanda scene. So for me, it was very moving. I was able to do the press junket tour thing that they had, and they was really vague at the time because this was right before the screening. So they really couldn't say much, but they did say that, you know, it was a very emotional film, and Josh Brolin, for him, was one of the best characters that he ever played because he got to tap into all of these different sides and all of these different perspectives where he was like, yes, I'm this big bad, you know, beat him up type of guy when you meet me, but you really get to see how broken of a man I am inside, especially as the movie continues and you see, you know, the relationship between Thanos and Gamora. And a lot of people were complaining in the previous Guardians of the Galaxy 2 that it focused on Peter Quill and his father, and then Nebula and Gamora. We didn't really get to understand or know what was going on between Gamora and Thanos, and we got basically a whole movie dedicated to that. So I think they did a really great job. They did a great job explaining all of the dynamics, and if you watch the movies back again, it makes more sense, and you kind of get to see Peter Quill. He's always been that kind of reckless person where he doesn't really think before he acts. He's very emotional. And there are scenes in Volume 2 where Nebula is screaming at him like, your arrogance almost got us killed, which plays directly to what happens in Infinity War. So if you go back to all of the different Marvel movies, there are touches of scenes and different clues that they give you for Infinity War and how it develops the character. So I thought that was just very beautiful and dynamic. And the whole thing with Doctor Strange, you know, yes, it pissed a lot of people off that he was the only one who can see like all of the different, all of the different conclusions and ways how this is going to end. And it was only one, but he didn't tell them what that one thing is. So everybody is just left to figure things out for themselves after he gave Thanos the time stone. So that part was very impactful. But if you go back to Doctor Strange and you go back to the ancient one, it kind of explains some things of what's going on. So they give you clues in the previous movie about what you can expect in Volume 2. So for me, it was just amazing. It was great. Remember, it's a part 2, so you're not going to get hardly any of the questions answered. It would be similar to Lord of the Rings, that trilogy. I'm just happy this is part 2 and not, a trilogy. So, yeah. For me, it was just amazing. The cast was amazing. Josh Brolin was one of his best acting. The girl, Zoe Saldana, amazing. I think everyone in the cast was just really great. I was slightly confused as to what was going on with Chris Pratt's character. He changed his body shape a little bit. We got a little pudgy. And I know that's not important, but that was just kind of weird how they did that part. But yeah, overall, I loved it. The review is on the site. I thought it was great.
All right. So before you discuss a few of the other events that you took place in, Gary, you have any other thoughts based on what Dana had to say about Infinity War? I do have a few things that I want to say, but I'm gonna go to you first, Gary.
No, I loved it. We've got a lot of content out about it, so people can go check that out. I don't want to get too deep into spoilers in case some of the people listening haven't had the chance to see it yet. But I loved the film, and it was really powerful watching that, because it's 10 years of character development of all these characters, and then you're finally seeing them all on screen at the same time. Some of them are meeting for the first time. Some of them have met already, of course. And Thanos was just done really well. And I noticed Kieran in the chat, Ruthless Kid, he actually mentioned that they didn't introduce Lady Death, and that is a big part of the Thanos story in the comics. But they had to do things a bit differently in the movie. They couldn't do it exactly the same, especially because they didn't even have all the same characters that they have in the comics. So I understand the need to change it up a little bit, and I'm quite happy with what we got, to be honest with you. For me, it was a 10 out of 10 experience, and I personally think it's the best Marvel movie to date. But Black Panther is close, it's neck and neck kind of. But I would also put Winter Soldier up there too, still, because that was a great film, and as was Civil War. But yeah, I'll give Infinity War the edge. But yeah, incredible. I loved every minute of it.
No, the fact that it didn't include Lady Death made it an even stronger movie. I don't want her there. She's dead. Hela was death. She's dead. Let her stay dead. The fact that she wasn't in there made it a Thanos story. He wasn't there to please some random hoe. He was there to do something that he felt innate, that he had to do, or else the universe would perish. And to me, that's more weightier than, oh my God, I have to please Lady Death so I can be in her good graces and we can be happy together. No, that's trivial compared to a personal journey.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So I'm gonna be relatively brief about what I have to say as well. I do agree the movie was fantastic. I always have a joke that I always say whenever I see a movie. Well, I know Hollywood is gonna do this, and once again with this movie, I was not disappointed because they did exactly what I thought. And that is, we need to do something about the brothers. Let's get them out the picture early and out of here as quick as possible. So, I know that this particular actor has said that he doesn't want to be this character anymore. So I'm glad he got his wish, and they took him out immediately as soon as the movie started.
He was never pleased. And because of that, I was like, yay, we don't have to see you no more. Marvel movie and not pleased. Oh, I don't get to do anything. You're in a Marvel movie. You get a Marvel paycheck.
Yeah.
Why did you sign on to begin with?
Wait, was that his criticism, that he doesn't get to do anything?
He didn't get to do much. That was his criticism, and he was very angry, and he wanted out, so he got his out. And I did not weep one single tear.
They really should have waited for Black Panther before they signed him. But yeah.
Well, I guess they said no. I don't know, but overall though, movie was fantastic. You know, to reiterate what I said yesterday. I mean, I don't want to say too much because maybe there may be some people who haven't seen this movie. Although I don't know if that's accurate because everybody that I've spoken to has seen the movie already. But I would just say this: as far as the people that disappeared at the end, Marvel has already announced a couple other films that are in development, so I didn't understand some of the people that disappeared at the end because I know they'll be back. They're not really dead.
No, that's not what you're missing. You're missing the fact that they got killed, and how their deaths will not have a psychological effect on them come the other movies.
Okay, that's
not think that everyone will not get affected, and so. Poor Sprinkles, if anyone who knows who Sprinkles is, poor Sprinkles. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. But to go along with what you just said, when you say it from that point of view, that makes a lot of sense. So I'm curious to see that. But I will say this. In regards to the sequel, I don't want Marvel to be safe about who they kill. I want to see
one.
Well, say what?
They wasn't safe with this one.
We
didn't think he would die.
Well, in regards to the original team that's still intact, I want to see somebody from that team go because that will. Well, say what?
Tony gone. The psychological break alone. He's on suicide watch.
Oh, you think so?
He lost everybody. I don't want to go. Oh yeah, that man's psychological. And also, I think that also when they come back, there's other people that they didn't show. So Pepper, Happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure other people perished that they didn't show. You're right about that.
Yeah. So you lost everybody.
Yeah. We'll see. So continue, Gary. Hold on for a quick second.
Wait, what's up? Oh, he had to step out. But yeah, did you have anything else you was gonna say, Dana?
No, that the movie is incredible and amazing, and just pray for Tony.
We certainly will. But what else did you have to discuss during your segment?
Basically, CinemaCon was also during this month, and there's the live-action Lion King movie by Jon Favreau. It's a nice segue to Happy. So Happy from the Avengers is directing the Lion King live-action movie, which is going to be very similar to his Jungle Book movie. Donald Glover is voicing Simba. His Beyonce is Nyla. Or Nala. There's a lot of other cast in it, and they previewed the opening segment, the whole that whole thing. Tears, nothing but tears, and it literally it's shot by shot of the movie, The Lion King. But they use, obviously it's computer generated, but the way how they use the actual animals, it works. I can't explain it. It just works, and it is beautiful. It is one of the most beautiful things that I have seen visually. So that, look forward to that. That should be really good. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I can finally say it's a Sony Animation picture. It is gorgeous. It is so freaking beautiful. It looks like a nice, glossy, sexy comic book where the animation is mixed with hand-drawn animation and computer graphics, and it just works. And they have the little, how you have your internal monologue, and the internal monologue is in the bubbles, the comic book bubbles that they have, so that it works on that. You get to see Miles Morales, and I was just sitting there just crying, because it was just a representation that we don't really get. Miles is, the Black Puerto Rican. and it is written by the same guys who did the Lego Batman movie, the Chris Lord and the what's the other guy's name? I completely forgot the other guy's name. It's by Lord and Christopher Miller and Philip Lord, and these are like two corny looking white guys. And let me tell you, they got the vernacular of Miles Morales down. They got the whole Brooklyn, that whole thing down. He's a really happy kid. They embedded him in that African American, Puerto Rican culture. He's from Brooklyn. So they did that really great. He's 13 years old. His dad is a cop, and he's like right there for his son. That is just beautiful what they did with that. And then the whole family dynamic. And I can't say fully of the plot because I don't want to get murdered, but you get to see some of your like favorite stuff. And like the way how they did it, I can say that it feels kind of like Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. That's what I can say. I like that. So I'm not revealing a plot there. But that was beautiful. It was just sexy. And I'm just sitting there and I'm just crying. It is the best looking animated movie I have ever seen. And the voice acting is just really great. I loved everything about it. Also, there was, I don't know if anyone cares, but they're doing a Bohemian Rhapsody. Remember Freddie Mercury? He was the singer. When I let you go, let me go. Miss me like him. So he's doing a biopic. It's with Rami Malek, the guy from Mr. Robot. They did the opening, which is the We Are the Champions and the Bohemian Rhapsody, him performing, and he looks just like Freddie Mercury. It's weird, but it just really works. If you look at the guy, he doesn't really look like he would, be it, but it works. So I loved it. That was great. Let's see. Also, I got a little bit of what else? I think that was mainly it from CinemaCon. It was like a lot of remakes that we're getting that no one really cares that much about. Yeah, so aside from that, it was all right. It was good. I liked it. We got Deadpool is coming up. You guys already know about that. That looks fun. A lot of more jokes. And of course you get the guy who played Thanos. I can't remember his name. I can't remember. Anyway,
Josh Brolin?
Yes, Josh Brolin.
Yeah.
He's much lighter. He's funny. So it's a complete opposite of him as Thanos. So that's, if you want to see him again, that's great to see. He's a really great actor. He had a lot of fun doing this, even though that he said he had more fun doing Infinity War than doing the whole Deadpool thing. He signed a deal for 4 more movies, so we're going to get a lot more of Josh Brolin. He's not going anywhere.
Wait, you mean he signed a deal in the Deadpool?
Deadpool.
Okay.
Darkest Minds is also coming up. That is based upon a novel, and that's basically about superheroes. But they're all like teenagers, and it looked much better than Runaways. And they're literally a group of runaways who are seeking a safe haven. And they realize that, the world of adults have betrayed them, and so they have to take back their future. So it's literally like Runaways, but it looks like it's way better than Runaways. And Runaways to me was absolute trash. The Predator, we're getting another Predator movie. So yeah, if you care about that. The battle the Alita Battle Angel, we're getting that one. That looked really good. It's James Cameron. He produced it. Robert Rodriguez directed it. You guys know it's based on the graphic novel or the manga series. That looked really great. The animation for that just really beautiful. So we got to see some of that. So that was pretty good. I like that. And then I was able to do the Tomb Raider. I was able to see the panel, the video game, not the movie. and it does not look very good. But if you're a Tomb Raider fan, then you might like it. But for me, and the way how they was hyping it up, you know how you just keep using the same words over and over again, thinking that people won't notice that you keep repeating because you don't have anything else to say? That's what they was doing. They kept saying tomb raiding and more tomb raiding, and it's underwater tombs, and you get to raid them. This is supposed to be the end of the trilogy, for a whole series, and this is going to be the one where she becomes Lara Croft. And they kept saying that she struggled a lot with her identity, that she wanted to step away from the whole tomb raiding thing. But now this is something that she is going to accept. The video game, it's supposed to be a lot darker because she ends up crossing the line psychologically between viewing herself as the villain or viewing herself as a hero. And, there's a connection that she has with Jonah. Jonah is basically the moral compass of the story that keeps telling her, let's not do this. You're acting too irrational. Let's think. And he's the one who's more like the investigator of the whole video game. So he wants to make sure he gets all the information and all the pieces before, he gives it to Laura, because she's one of those people who's going to just jump out and do her own thing without fully understanding the consequences of her actions. So it's, described as more like a I don't want to say coming of age, but like her coming into her own and her becoming Lara Croft. Also, they did emphasize that we're not going to get the 1996 Laura that we grew up with. This is going to be a representation of Laura, but it's also going to be her own self, her own identity. So they really stress that of the video game. But sorry, the gameplay was a little janky. It looked visually very beautiful, especially when she's underwater. There's a lot of things that happen. It's very open world. So they did have fun. They was explaining with just creating different environments for her to go into, and that they do encourage the open world type plays, so you could take your time with it. But overall, it just seemed bleh. It didn't really, the story itself really didn't seem that great. The camera angles were really weird. The combat was kind of really boring, and it was just this weird linear thing where like it had this linear path and then it just didn't. It just seemed to be like it wasn't fully done. It comes out in September, as we know, so you can give them that, like it's okay because it comes out in September, so you're still working on it. But for me, it just didn't wow me. I wasn't really impressed by it, and I was just expecting a little bit more. But the visuals, they're really great. I do have to say that. And there are cutscenes where you really get to see the acting shine through. The voice actress who plays Laura, whose name I can't remember at the moment, I would say that it was one of her best performances. For me, she's not really like that great of an actress, but for this, she seemed like she took some classes, so I'm pleased with that. Overall, yeah, it's just wait and see for me.
Well, I certainly am going to have something else to say. I'm gonna try to hold it for when we get to that final topic. But from what it sounds like this game it still needs to be polished in other areas. So maybe it shouldn't be coming out in September. But we'll see. Square Enix, they trying to get this done and over with, so we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So, is there any other entertainment or stuff you want to tell us about the show before we move on to the next topic?
No, just got a lot of movies that were previewed and they're coming out, and if I go through everything, it'll be like 20 hours long. But just pay attention to Spider-Man. Really pay attention to Spider-Man. That is something that I strongly recommended. I love that. Also, I was able to go to the Tribeca Film Festival. I don't know how I'm alive today, but I also recommend Charlize Theron has a new movie called Tully, where it seems really cute and corny, like, oh, it's just like a woman who she's pregnant and she's dealing with this kid and she has postpartum and, wacky little things happen. There is a part in the movie where it really takes this twist and it becomes like a really sad drama, and it's just really good just in general. The acting is just amazing. But But other than that's all I have to say. Also, as we already know, Avengers, they surpassed their whole box office expectations. So yay to everyone who's seen it. Those who didn't see it, I don't know why you're waiting. Go see it now. That's it.
Sounds good. Yes, yeah. So as I say, yeah, you've had a very, very busy month. Hopefully, you will be able to have some vacation time in May. But
yeah, I doubt that. But and Avengers opened with 630 million.
Whoa!
So you
whoa.
a little bit of a record, just a little bit, a tad bit. Oh, and also screw you to James Cameron, who says that he can't wait for Infinity War to be over because he's tired of superhero fatigue, and then also wanted people to know that he is working on Avatar. Remember, there's 4 more Avatars that nobody asked for. So, yay, fatigue.
I do want to say one thing. Well, he might be tired of Avengers fatigue or whatever, but I'm already fatigued by Avatar after one movie. So
I'm fatigued of his crappy movies. So there you go. And also Attack on Titan, we're getting a season 3. So if you like that, yay.
That's awesome. Man,
and also
that's a lot of stuff.
Get that Hulkbuster figure from Infinity War because it's hilarious. It's really cute.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff to cover. So did an excellent job covering that, but man, that had to be a busy month. It's just it's too much stuff at once.
Doing this since the end of March.
Wow.
I'm dead inside.
Well, thank you for letting us know about all of that stuff that went down.
Yeah.
So now let's move on to the final 2 topics for today. First and foremost, the March NPDs have been released.
Yeah.
I'm going to mention the top 10 because the other 10, I don't really think we need to get into that. Let's just get into the top 10 for March. So number 10 was Monster Hunter World. I'll give a shout out to Miguel because I believe Miguel and Ruthless said that that's their game of the year. I still haven't played Monster Hunter. I know Gary has, or he has been trying to, and has reluctantly been unable to get people to play with him. So I don't know.
It's good. It's good. You got to start playing these games. It's good.
Yeah, well, I'm going to give a shout out to Tony Polanco because he told me he doesn't think I should play it because this is a game, he knows the type of stuff I play, and this is a game that requires a ton of time. You know, I don't have that much time, so I don't know. But as I said, I will make time for God of War. Definitely going to make time for Red Dead Redemption, so I will consider that, but we'll see what happens. So
yeah, Monster Hunter is a good game. Just real quick, it is a really good game. It's just I wish it was easier to connect at the start of the game because that was the complication that I faced with Ramiz. But the overall game itself is good though.
Okay, I gotta check it out. So that was number 10. Number 9 was NBA 2K18. Obviously, not surprised about that. The NBA playoffs are going on right now as well, so I could only imagine that that will increase the sales even further. Number 8, Ni no Kuni 2, Revenant Kingdom. Number 7, Mario Kart 8. Number 6, Call of Duty World War II. Number 5, Grand Theft Auto 5. Still on these charts, which I find interesting. Number 4, Kirby Star Allies. Yeah, that's interesting. That's number 4. Number 3, MLB 18, the show. Okay. Number 2, Sea of Thieves, which is Max Muller's favorite game, as you saw in his review. And number 1, Far Cry 5. So I wanted to ask, does any of these games being included on this list surprise either one of you?
Give it up for Kirby. Yay, Kirby.
Yeah, Kirby. I'm surprised that Kirby is on this list. That's interesting.
I love how Mario Kart just never dies. It's always there.
Yeah, it's always there. One game that isn't on this list, and I'm glad that people have finally come to their senses, is WWE 2K18. So finally, yes, I'm happy that that's not on the list at all.
That means WWE couldn't buy any more copies. They ran out of money.
Yeah, because I would have thought it would have been on the list because WrestleMania, they were ramping up for WrestleMania. Yeah, I would have figured a lot of people want, because I know I got an email about a WrestleMania edition, and yet there's nothing in the game that's updated at all. So I didn't understand what the hell there was the point of releasing that version. But whatever.
I'm slightly upset A Way Out is not higher because it came in at 15. So I'm upset about that.
Yeah, that should have been higher because I know I played that with Adam Vale, last month. Well, no, it was earlier this month actually. And I was very, very surprised with that game. Obviously, the ending is a little controversial for some because of the whole time. I don't want to give any spoilers. You just need to play the game. But for a co-op game, I kind of understand why there were some people that didn't like how it ended, but I loved it because it really literally took the title A Way Out to another level. So that was interesting, but a good game overall. But how about you, Gary? Are you surprised by any of the games that are on this list?
Not particularly. I am surprised, and people are going to get on me about this, but Sea of Thieves is number 2, and I think that what that shows is that Xbox does have buying power. Like the fan base does. They go out and they support the game no matter what it is. There were a lot of mixed receptions about Sea of Thieves, and I heard people say it's not the greatest game. It's a very shallow experience, but nevertheless, people still went out and bought the game and supported it, and that definitely means something. And I think Microsoft just needs to buckle up and just keep putting stuff out for these loyal gamers out there that are supporting the content. So I hope that come E3 we're going to see a ton of releases for these people who own the Xbox. And I hope that we're going to get a lot of stuff this year even. We still have Crackdown to come, but I hope that there's a lot of other exclusive games that are coming out for the system this year as well. But yeah, go ahead.
So I just want to make a quick comment as sort of a counter to your what you said. I think the Sea of Thieves being number 2 on that list, what this proves to me is that there's a lot of people that signed up for Game Pass, because I highly doubt a lot of people went out and spent $60 for this game.
Oh, so does it include the Game Pass?
Well, see, that's the thing. It doesn't say that. It's not really, as far as the numbers, there's no other concrete information on this particular sheet that says where the numbers came from. I could only assume physical. I don't know if digital is included because I don't see anything on here that would indicate that. But I will say, and I'm not saying that to say that the game is bad. I still haven't played the game. I know that it has had mixed criticisms across the board, but I do know that, Xbox is pushing the whole Game Pass initiative. So I'm 100% certain, because we know people who did this. Tony had a trial. So a lot of people got this game. If they had a Game Pass trial, probably downloaded the game. They didn't pay full price for it. So that definitely played a factor, I think, in the decision. And what I will say is, if next month, well, it won't be next month, it'll be in May. If when we get to the May NPDs, you see that State of Decay 2 is high on that list, that is exactly what the situation is. Because State of Decay 2 is another game that it's actually $30. It's not $60. But I'm definitely going to buy that game. I think a lot of people are going to buy that because, number one, it's definitely cheaper than Sea of Thieves, and for me anyway, personally, it appeals to me more so because it is a survival game. It has zombies, so on and so forth. But if you see that game charted higher on that list in May for May NPDs, then okay, Game Pass might have played a role in this, in addition to it also being cheaper. But we'll see. The verdict is still out on that. But with that said, one thing I will add, Far Cry 5, glad to see Far Cry 5 on the list. I know this is another game that people have had some criticisms about. I personally, I did review the game on the website. I love the open world in the game. all the things that you can do because it's a ton of things to do. I can understand there's a lot of issues with the story and people are right to complain about the story. But if you've ever played a Far Cry game, you know what to expect. And for those that complained because the story wasn't, basically talking about a lot of the stuff that's going on in the country today and didn't take a really serious approach to a lot of the stuff going on with the government and stuff. I mean, as I said on the Throwdown show a couple of weeks ago, I mean, when I sit down to play a game, I'm just sitting down to play a game. If there's a lot of stuff that's going on in the real world that is very disturbing, I want to look at the game as a way to escape and play it. I don't want to play a game and then be reminded of all the bullshit that's going on in the real world today, and then, having to contend with that stuff. No, like I said, Far Cry is a fun game. Could they have taken things in a much more serious approach? Of course, but it's a Far Cry game. So, I mean, for me, it's a Far Cry game. That was essentially what it needed to be from the beginning. But again, that's just my opinion.
Wait.
Yeah.
Are you saying that games should not teach people? Because you're saying that, you use it as an escape. I view games as also giving an opportunity, an open platform to educate people.
Oh no, I didn't. Well, I didn't say that. Yeah, it definitely can be educational. This particular game, though, I mean, I've played Far Cry games in the past, so I kind of already knew what to expect. It was going to be a game where it was just going to be about exploring the world, taking down the bad guys. I wasn't expecting to learn anything meaningful about it because the whole game is you basically are trying to save people from this hostile environment that has been taken over by this cult. So I wasn't expecting to learn anything meaningful about it. I knew it was going to be very repetitive. When you save somebody, hey, thank you for saving me, or you go up to a random stranger, can you do this task for me? I expected all of that stuff to be in the game, but I wasn't expecting it to be like, I'm going to learn something important about what it's like to survive in this type of environment. Now, I wasn't expecting that. I know that, but no, games can definitely educate. They should educate. They have a lot to say about them. But I mean, in my opinion, I think it depends on the game because every game is not going to do that. That's just my opinion. When you play a sports game, I mean, objective is to, like, if it's an NBA 2K or whatever, your objective is to beat the other team. And you can learn some things about basketball in that game. You can learn certain things depending on, like, here's a better example. Madden NFL 18, when that game came out last year, and the fact they had a story mode in which you had to go through this whole process where you're trying to get drafted, that game, to me, the way they handled the story, that was fantastic because you had to do all these drills. You had to learn a lot of this stuff. So they actually put a lot of effort into that to make you have to learn how to really play football and look at football in a different perspective. Because even if you're a casual fan, you may not necessarily understand everything about football, but they put so much in that game to really teach you about football. And then you can apply that to how you look at football, whether you're playing it or you actually are running your own fantasy team, how certain players play, so on and so forth. So there's definitely some games that can teach you a lot. But with this particular game, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting, let's just go ahead, let's have fun, ride around plays, shoot down bad guys, and just beat the enemies. I wasn't expecting anything more than that. But there's a lot of people that did expect that because of the narrative and then the way that Ubisoft pushed the messaging and the marketing to say, oh, yeah, this is going to be a very controversial game. So that's I understand why some people were a little disappointed, but I wasn't expecting anything massive behind this. But again, it's just my opinion. So, any other thoughts before we move on to the next topic?
Yeah, do you think GTA 5 will continue to sell even after Red Dead comes out? Like, is it still going to be on the chart? Because that would be pretty crazy if they have GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2 on the charts at the same time, month to month.
Well, here's the thing with that. They recently released, last week, they released a digital deluxe edition, premium edition of Grand Theft Auto 5 with all of the other content that they had, because they've been releasing content over the last couple of months for GTA Online. but they released like a complete edition again just this past week. Like the week before they did a physical copy. This week they did a digital version of it. So I think it all depends on, essentially if they are going to continue to support it. I have no idea if they're going to continue to supporting GTA Online. I feel like GTA always has an opportunity to be on NPDs because a lot of people are still buying the game for some reason. The online, they're still supporting it. So I think as long as they support the online, it may be on NPD, but it may slightly drop down lower as more stuff starts to come out. Like, Red Dead Redemption 2 comes out. I pretty much expect that to be number one on the list, for October. But there's going to be other stuff on there because we also know that Call of Duty is coming out the same month now. We also know Battlefield, even though they didn't announce a release date, it typically releases in October. That game is going to be on that list also. So it may still be in the NPD list, but it may not be at the top of the list. Definitely not. It's still expected to be in the top 20 though. But again, I think that depends on how much content they decide to actually put into this GTA Online experience. Because I don't know what Rockstar's plan is for supporting the game moving forward because they have to put all their resources to Red Dead Redemption 2. So I can't really say for sure that it will still be on the list, but I believe it will be on the list at least up until Red Dead comes out. Now moving past into like November, December, and then into next year, that would be very interesting to see. I have no idea. But for now, I still think it will be on this list until there's other games that can knock it off. One thing I did find interesting about this list, Super Mario Odyssey are still on the list along with Zelda, and these games came out last year. So that's pretty interesting that's on the list. But we'll see what happens. Yeah. All right. So any other thoughts before we move on to our main topic for today?
No, I'm good.
All right. So now I can say what I wanted to say about Tomb Raider. So as Dana already mentioned, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, she was at an event. She had a chance to see more of the game. I saw the reveal trailer, and I will also add that our other editor on staff, Tatiana, she got a chance to go to the preview event in Los Angeles on Thursday night. I have seen a lot of what has been said about the game, the controls, the visuals, as was already said, it looks fantastic. But the controls and other stuff still is not there. So two things I want to say real quick about this game. And I hope that Square Enix is not watching this or idle, so I don't want to be disrespectful, but I have to be honest. I think the name Shadow of the Tomb Raider is very much indicative of this game because I feel this game should have stayed in the shadows longer for them to figure out whatever needs to be fixed and then put it out there. But the whole thing is, well, go ahead.
No, I was chuckling. That joke was actually funny.
Well, yeah, because the whole thing with me is that Square Enix, I recall when they released the last two Tomb Raider games, their whole narrative was, they were mad because they didn't sell a certain number of copies. So I understand, the whole thing with this particular preview event, I think this was meant to generate a lot of interest. And then the event that you went to also, this was meant to generate a lot of interest, to get it out there, let people know what's coming, and then have great first impressions. But the majority of the impressions I have seen online is the game still needs some work. I mean, it looks great. That's fantastic. But graphics are not everything. They got a lot of other stuff to figure out with this game. And the other comment that I will make about this game, which is very confusing to me, is that I keep hearing the marketing of, this is the origins. This is going to reveal the Lara Croft that we all know and love. It's a bit of an origin story. So I would like to ask Eidos and Square Enix, what the hell were the last two games about Lara Croft?
Because no. What they mean, the first game was, it's the beginning, middle, and the end. You saw how she was like, oh no, I don't want to be a part of the rating. And even when they showed the manor, remember how it was like, it wasn't the manor that people wanted. It was the decrepit, run down version of it. And it was her stepping away from her father's shadow. And then in the beginning, it's like, oh, well, maybe let me try it this way and what really happens. And with the third one, it's just her finally coming into her own. Through the whole series, it was this level of uncomfortability. And now in the last one, it's her finally becoming herself after, as they explained, she loses herself within the game. Yeah.
Okay, see, thank you very much for explaining that. And I will say right now that Eidos and Square Enix, they need to hire you to explain what the hell this game is about. Because I mean, just going based off of when I heard the initial marketing for the game at the beginning, I was like, so it's an origin story. Okay, so what the hell was I playing when I played the last Tomb Raider game? So thank you for explaining that, because I didn't understand that.
It's a trilogy of an origin story.
Yeah, the trilogy. Well, the shit. That's a long origin story. There's a lot. There's a lot to that. But okay, that makes perfect sense when you explain it that way. So Gary, as a Tomb Raider fan, what were your thoughts when you saw the reveal trailer? Is this a day one purchase, or you feel like, you know what, I will probably wait and get this when it's a little bit cheaper?
Whoa, Tomb Raider fan? I'm not sure about that. But yeah, no, the trailer looked good. I still haven't got around to playing Rise of the Tomb Raider yet. So I'm not sure what happens at the end and what her character development is in that. And I'm not sure what leads into the Shadow of the Tomb Raider, but it does look interesting, and it left me curious on what those people with the masks were like. Who are these people, and why is she chasing them down, and who is that guy that she rescued? So it raised a lot of questions for me, and I'm not sure if maybe I need to play Rise of the Tomb Raider to understand the context a little bit more. But from simply from aesthetics, it looks like a really good game. And someday I'll probably play it, but I'm probably not going to rush to get it day one. But it looks intriguing for me personally. But what I wanted to know is, so if this is supposed to set up the Lara Croft that we all know and love and respect and everything, does that mean that after this game they're going to transition straight into the Lara Croft that we know and give us like a new up-to-date version of that Lara Croft? Or is this just it? Is this the final one that they're going to be doing?
That's a good question. Dana might be able to answer that question, but before she gives her thoughts, I will just say this. I honestly think that it all depends how this game does sales-wise. If it doesn't hit the target that they want to hit, then Square Enix may say, you know what, we're going to take a break from this series. Because look at how they treated Deus Ex. When the last Deus Ex game came out, it didn't sell well. And that led to them saying, okay, we're going to take a break. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to cancel the series. It's just going to take a break and focus on other things, because we have to remember Square Enix, they're also working on this Marvel game as well. And I don't know if it's Avengers or Guardians of the Galaxy or whatever, but they're working on that project in addition to this other stuff. So, but in terms of this game in particular, I think it's all depending upon if it sells well, if it is received well by critics, then yeah, we'll make another one. But at this point, that would be my guess. They may say, well, it's not about the sales. We want to continue doing stories. But I think from a business standpoint, if the investors are like, this game didn't sell well, okay, we're going to take a break from this series and let's just focus on our other upcoming projects.
Hi. Hello.
Yeah,
Hi.
yeah, go ahead, Dana.
Factuals and factuals. This is just to wrap up the origin story. They have already planned the next installment.
Well, so there you go. That's your answer, Gary.
It was very really emphasized. This is just to wrap up the trilogy. We're getting more.
Okay, well, the ignorant guy in me just wants to say, forget these origins. I'm gonna wait for that. That's what I kind of want to say. But yeah, we'll see. I might still play Rise of the Tomb Raider. We'll see.
It's a. You asked if it was like a day one purchase. I would say it's a Black Friday purchase.
Well, that's
That's positive.
Wow.
I didn't say don't get it. I said Black Friday. So it's a win-win for all. They get your money and you don't spend that much money.
That's true. That's absolutely true. We'll see how that pans out, because there may be a couple of other games that will be Black Friday purchases, and if it's too many of those games, somebody is gonna get left behind until next year. So we'll see about that. Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything else to really say about the game. You know, obviously, I'm looking forward to it. I did play Rise of the Tomb Raider. I think that game was far better than the first game. So I do have some positive thoughts about the game. I know in the beginning when I played the first game, I was like, oh, well, look, it's Uncharted starring Lara Croft. And I very much felt the same way when I played the last game. So I don't have a problem with that. Obviously, it still made a great game overall. So I do have positive thoughts that the game is going to still be good, despite the fact that it may not be of the quality it needs to be in other areas. Obviously, graphically, yeah, it looks fantastic. But you mean we'll see how everything else pans out. But in regards to the origin story stuff, you know, yeah, that's a long origin story. I'll be glad when the story is over. You know, and I'm very curious to see what they do with the series after this, because there's other stories that you can tell with this particular character. So we'll see about that.
Another question I had was like, do you think they kind of plan to piggy bank off of the back of the movie and stuff, like, and lead right into the build up for this game? Like, was the movie part of their marketing and they're part of their strategy for this game?
Dana, you have any thoughts? I have some thoughts, but I'm gonna let you go first.
I was muted. On the marketing, was there any plans for marketing and strategy? Well,
repeat the question.
The question was like, was they factoring in the movie as part of their marketing for the build up of this game?
No, not at all. The movie factors in the game. No, they wanted to emphasize that it's their own separate thing. They're not looking at any, movies or any type of structure. They're going with what they want to do independently. And then the movie, they work hand in hand, meaning that the movie, will get information from the game. So whatever the game decides to do, it'll follow the movie, or the movie will follow the
game. But do you think, like, because there is a movie now, and I'm not actually sure on the numbers of the movie and how well it did, but do you think that might lead to more people getting into the games now? Because they haven't been happy with the numbers of the previous games. Mm-hmm. But do you think that
for those who liked the movie, then I can see that happening? But overall, the movie was not received very well. So, good luck. No.
All right. So, one thing I want to say on that, listen. What you say, Gary, is a good question, because I firmly believe that it is not a mistake that movie comes out the same year the game comes out. Obviously, you want to get attention on the franchise, even if the movie was bad. And yeah, the movie was bad, because I also saw it, and I actually fell asleep on that movie when I was watching it in the theater. So
it was just it was lazily done. That would also made it so bad.
Absolutely. So
it also goes into fact. Remember, they get the information last because it's the movie following the game. So because they get the information last, they have to throw together a movie.
That's
instead
true.
of working in conjunction with each other. See, if you ever watch, for example, remember the Lego movies, Lego Batman, Lego Ninjago, those type of things? They work, the movie department, the production, and the video game production work side by side as a unit, which is why you'll see how it, it mimics each other, and how they both end up shining. If one sucks, the other one's going to suck. But what happens with Tomb Raider is they're separate, and then the video game department feeds whatever information it wants them to into the movie. And that's why we get this disjointed crappage that's just thrown together.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we'll see how the game turns out. I don't necessarily have any high expectations. I think it'll be good at best, and we just leave it at that. But they definitely still need to work on the game. So hopefully everything will get polished up in the areas that needs to be polished up, and we have a great game when it comes out in September. Now, with that said, there's another game coming out in September that I think I am more interested in, and that's Spider-Man. So we'll see how they fare in regards to sales, because a lot of people are going to want that game, in addition to whatever else gets announced, because there's other stuff that will get announced at E3 that is coming out in September also. So
it's so pretty. It really is. And just to harpen back really quickly, I know that I'm like going all over the place. I'm sorry. I apologize. But
no, you're fine.
E3 stuff, I was able to play Lego Incredibles 2.
Yeah.
Which reminded me very much of Disney Infinity. So if you're like any fan of Disney Infinity, remember they canceled it. When they canceled it, I died. I died inside. I didn't see a purpose of living anymore. The sky was gray. But if you love that aspect, you're going to get it in The Incredibles 2. The movie is janky, but the game is good.
That's good. Yeah. I saw the trailer for that when I went to see Infinity War, and I'm definitely going to see Incredibles 2. I thought the trailer was great. So the game, I hope it's good too. So I'll definitely check it out.
It's enjoyable. It's for me. It was very enjoyable, and it was just really fun. And the person who worked along with the game also was a part of Disney Infinity. So again, if you really like the Disney Infinity, you're gonna like the Lego game.
That's good. That's good to know. Got to check that out. Yeah, that's cool. All right. So, any final thoughts on Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Gary or Dana?
Crap. No, just work on, it's really great. They have this really great story, and they explain the consequences that she does, and she's dealing with, the end of the world and how she caused it. But that's wonderful, but it means literally nothing if the controllers and the cameras are awful. I can't play a game that you claim to be so cinematically amazing if it's poopy pants.
I agree. How about you, Gary?
Hopefully they sort all that out by the time it comes out. I do want to say though, with Rise of the Tomb Raider, what really doomed that game is the fact that it came out around some big blockbusters, including Fallout 4 and other games like that. And
not to mention that whole deal with Microsoft with the releasing first on Xbox.
Yeah.
And yep. So all of that, and Microsoft, from what I saw, there was no promotional stuff whatsoever when that game came out, because Fallout came out the same exact day as that game. So not good. But go continue. I don't want to interrupt you.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. But yeah, so I don't want to see them repeat that mistake, but it seems like from September onwards, it is going to be a pretty stacked year in terms of big releases. And, Spider-Man is around that time as well. So I think they really should have tried to get it out earlier, perhaps in August, because, those months where there's not much coming out, that's when everyone's really going to gravitate towards this game. And it will probably it will probably rise above their expectations, and they'll probably be hooked to it and everything. But the fact that they're still releasing around other big releases, that might hurt it a little bit. But we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, because no, go ahead. What you say?
I was just gonna say that they don't seem like each department doesn't really seem to be communicating with each other that great. So even if you can do this whole scheduling thing, I don't understand why you're releasing it a week before Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's
it's silly. I can understand you not wanting to do October because that's Black Ops 4 and Red Dead Redemption 2. So then why not do it in November? Unless I'm missing something.
Well, yeah, because right now there isn't anything that has been announced for November. So yeah,
that's what you. And plus, by the way how I'm looking, if by visually seeing the game, it needs more work. So for me, November would have just been perfect. Like, it's just really stupid to release a game that people are, for a year we've been expecting Spider-Man, and then we're gonna get it, and what we've seen is just amazing. So yeah, let's go 7 days after that, because that's smart. That's genius, because we haven't had games that failed in the past before. So yay them.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. So I don't know what they're thinking, but hopefully for them it does well. And if they decide at the last minute at E3 or whatever, we have decided that Tomb Raider is not quite up to the standard that it needs to be. So we are going to push this game back a couple of months. Well, yeah, then that'll be good for them. But that's
right.
I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. But
it's like something that people are expecting, and they're going to get angry because you pushed it back. I don't recall anyone saying, "Oh my God, I can't wait for that new Tomb Raider game to come out."
Yeah, Gary said. Gary just said, yeah, he can't wait to pick it up on day one.
I need more Tomb Raiders. That's what I need in my life is Tomb Raider. No one has said that. So push it back.
Yeah, I definitely didn't say that. And that accent was cool. That was good. I like that.
Thank you.
That's crazy. So we'll see what happened. We wish them well. Looking forward to hearing more about the game. But I believe that concludes our show for today. So definitely thank you all for checking out this week's show. We do have a couple of other very good things coming to the website very soon. A lot of interviews, a lot of great content as a whole coming to the site. So stay tuned for that. Dana, is there any shout outs that you want to give?
Shout out to Black Jesus for keeping me alive this whole month, because I'm dead right now. But also the viewers, the listeners, the gamers, the movie lovers, all you wonderful people.
Absolutely. I will give a shout out to all the people that continue to support the site, whether it's watching the show live or listening on the download. We appreciate your continued support, and we will continue to bring you great content. Just feel free to let us know your thoughts on everything. If there's anything you want us to discuss in the future, definitely let us know, and we'll do the best we can to make sure we talk about it. And Gary, the floor is now yours for the shout outs, so on and so forth.
Yep. So of course, we're going to shout out all of the Patreon supporters because we appreciate them lots and lots and lots. So big shout outs to M. Collins, Sean Gority, Stephen Ferron, Mauricio Aguilar, Himdill, Fergus Mills, Miguel, and the newest supporter, Antonio Rogers. So thanks to all those Patreon supporters, and a big shout outs to everyone who joined us in the chat today and everyone who interacted with us live. I see Ruthless Randoms in there, Kendall Berryman, Miguel was in there earlier, and a few other people were in there. So big shout outs to all you guys, and thanks for watching the show live with us and everything like that. And shout outs to all of the Koalition staff and the Throwdown team and everything. And yeah, that's pretty much it from me.
Sounds good. Yes. So thank you all for your continued support, and we will talk to you all next week.